and those 75 days without alcohol, it kind of really piqued my interest on like, man, like I feel really good about myself. Like I just feel great. And I was like, a little bit after 75 hard, like I think went out to Summer Smash at First Form. I had like 4 or 5 drinks that whole entire weekend. And I get back home and I'm just like, you know what? I think I'm done with it completely. And just cold turkey, just stop drinking. I made a commitment to myself. I made a promise to myself that I was never going to drink alcohol again. And that helped me out mentally as well, was like by making another promise or another commitment to myself that I wasn't going to do said thing. There's so much power and momentum behind that when you say that you're going to do something and you actually do it and you stick to it. And we're going to be 3 years in June. And now, like from drinking 7 nights a week to being now at this point 2 years sober, like I didn't know it was possible, but I feel so good about myself.
What's going on? Hope you're having a fantastic Saturday. Today, I have an amazing guest for you guys. Dale Beatty quit his job, started Gym Blue. Last time he was on the Why First Form Outdoors portion of the series. And before that, he had started thinking about the gym, but had not yet jumped ship from his current job. So you're going to want to hear this story. It's awesome. Absolutely love it. He has an amazing story, talks you through how he was able to leave his job, still take care of his family, create this amazing environment called Gym Blue. If you're in the Lexington area or even close to there, highly recommend that you go check this gym out. High class, provides so many amenities, great training, great equipment. Check it out. Also, guys, let me grab this right here. Don't forget, March Madness. You're going to win one of these ruck plate carriers from Go Ruck. It is fantastic. You're going to get a plate of the weight of your choice and a Go Ruck plate carrier so you can go and do your rucks. If you want to know more about the March Madness Challenge all the way through the end of March, definitely check out the link down below. I'll let you know a little bit more on that. Get entered because you definitely want to win this gear. It's a lifetime guarantee, and it's going to up your game when it comes to your fitness. So that being said, let's tune into this conversation here with Dale Beatty. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the RedBeard Outdoors podcast. I've got an amazing guest here, Dale Beatty. You guys recognize Dale if you've been listening to the podcast from the beginning. Again, I apologize if you listened from the very beginning, but when I started getting guests on, if you listen from then on, you'll recognize Dale. If you follow First Form or First Form Outdoors, you'll recognize him as well. Most of the time on First Form, you'll recognize him as the Jack shirtless dude. And then on First Form Outdoors, you'll recognize him as the camo guy that shoots turkeys with shotguns and does all that fun stuff. So with that being said, Dale is a First Form elite athlete. He earned that role a couple years ago, right when I first had him on the podcast.
Yep.
And it takes a lot to earn that spot. There's a lot of people aiming for that spot. And so we just recently recorded about First Form Outdoors. Why First Form Outdoors? If you haven't seen that, definitely recommend going and checking that out. I'm going to have a week full of episodes out by the time this podcast comes out. Go check those out, see why you should get involved with First Form Outdoors. But before we get into all that, Dale, for people that maybe didn't listen from the beginning, who are you?
Oof, what a loaded question. Honestly, I'm just a normal dude, Jonathan. You know that. I'm a guy that got into somewhat normal.
Yeah.
No, but I'm just a guy that got into fitness a couple years ago and just haven't looked back. Love the outdoors, love fitness, love my family, love God, love my wife. Yeah, that's me in a nutshell. I'm 30. How old am I? I'm 35. 35, born and raised in Kentucky. And yeah, sitting and talking to you right now from a dream of mine. So this is pretty surreal moment for myself.
Yeah, for sure. It is pretty awesome being on the podcast, but I think you meant talking about being in your gym. So Dale is wearing First Form. He's rocking the chain that I tried once to rock one of those when I was in junior high. It doesn't work out well for me. I was also the South Pole kid. If you guys remember
Ooh,
that brand. Yeah.
great name.
I never
Yeah.
wore Echo. I wore South
Okay.
Pole.
South
Okay. I
Pole.
was that guy like that. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
South Pole. I
I
had
didn't talk to you very much then.
I had the Air Force Ones. I was
Oh shit.
all white. Yeah, dude. High tops and everything. I had to learn how to protect them from the blue jean. Yeah, from the blue jeans that would
Yeah.
smear onto it because you got
Oh,
the nice fresh blue jeans.
yeah.
All black. And then I even got into at one point, I bought some low top Air Force Ones that they were too big for me.
Yeah.
And so, but you buy them too big, you stuff the ends with socks
Yeah.
so that they don't crease.
Yes. Yes. You
I
can't
knew
rock
all
them.
those tricks, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. My
Jonathan.
kids will never know that because we live here in Utah, so it's a little it's a little different out here. But no, but Dale was talking about not the dream of being on the podcast because he's welcome anytime. That's pretty easy to get on here with me. But the hat that he's wearing right now, the Jim Blue. Jim Blue, last time we were on the podcast talking, it was something that I don't even remember if it was in your vision to do. To be honest with you, it might have been.
It
But
was.
I know, and I don't know if we talked about it or not, but either way, fast forward 2 years, I've been in the facility. He made me mop. He put me to work the moment. Just kidding. He didn't really. I offered, but
From the work.
I missed the workout. The joke was I missed the workout, so he put me to work.
Hey,
But
we do the work, Jonathan. We do the
yeah,
work.
exactly. But the gym is beautiful. It really is. It's got some blue turf in there. You can't tell he's a Kentucky fan at all. And it's it's painted gorgeous. He's got a cold plunge in there. He's going to
Right.
have a therapist in there to work on people. There's a ton of things going on in that gym that are it's going to be outstanding. It's clean. You can tell you keep it nice and clean. We'll see after some people go in there, but I'm sure it'll stay clean.
Yeah,
And
no.
but yeah, talk to us a little bit about why did you start a gym? Because you did have a 9 to 5 that you were working at,
Mm-hmm.
and now you've taken this big leap backwards as far as pay. You're not getting paid by anyone right now,
Right.
and so
Yeah.
and so you're taking a big paycheck cut to go all in on this dream of yours. Talk to us about that. About why Jim Blue. Why did you want to pursue this goal of yours and just go all in on it?
So I don't think on the last time we talked, I don't think we talked about the dream of owning a gym, or at least I know that I didn't mention it, and that's because I was still at my 9 to 5,
Mm.
and of course, I couldn't tip them off as to my dreams and my goals I had set out for myself to get away from that to build a gym here in Lexington. So I had to play that close to my chest for quite some time, but back in 2021 when I went through and lost all the weight and worked on myself, to be the best version of myself, did the program 75 hard and realized that I was leaving a lot on the table for myself day to day. That, I literally came home from work one day. This is while I was still on 75 hard. And actually, I think she was wrapping up 75 hard as well. She was like, Dad, why don't we open up a gym? I was like, yeah, let's do that. Like 100%. We'd been out to first form. We'd seen their gym out there, and like that really opened our eyes to like how nice of a gym could be. Because that's what we're looking to bring here to our community is just a small slice of what first form has going out there with their gym and their community, their culture, and everything, and bringing that here to Lexington, Kentucky. And yeah, so from that point forward, that was mission number one was, okay, how can we go about building this gym and growing a community here in Lexington and bringing something to the fitness space that isn't around here and that is much needed, because we're going to be more than just like a nice gym to go to. We're going to be that standard, that beacon for honestly other gyms to look up to as to how a gym should be ran, and the core values that a gym has to have, not only for the people that own that gym but for the members themselves as well. So we have a couple core values here at Gym Blue. You versus you. You're your biggest competition. That's my big thing right there. Chasing your potential. We all leave a lot on the table every single day, every single week. It's our duty as Americans, as patriots of this country, to chase our potential, to be the best version of ourselves. Be the one in your family tree that takes that first step, that takes that initial step of working on yourself, whether that comes through, reading books, being the best version of yourself, or, the fitness side of things, just being the one that takes that first step and setting the tone for, yourself and for your family members. And then we have no excuses. We don't believe in excuses here at Gym Blue. You're truly capable of whatever you set your mind to, and we're just living proof of that we don't let excuses get to us. So, having those core values here for Gym Blue, and having this dream come into a reality, sitting here in the office right now, looking out at the gym floor, the equipment starting to come in, and just everything just starting to fall into place. And I was a sales manager for a logistics company for 11 years. I'd worked my way up into management. I was making good money there. I was making great money there, and I had it very comfortable there. 401k benefits, company card, all that sort of stuff. But it didn't fulfill me on the inside. It was definitely leaving a void, within me, that I knew that I was capable of a lot more out there, and, put all that on the back burner. Put in my 2 weeks notice this past June, and went all in on funding this gym and building this gym. And we're getting really close to the opening, and we're just really excited to have everybody finally come in and lay eyes on the facility and get to meet us, and start building that culture in the community here in Gym Blue. So
Yeah, no, for sure.
yeah.
I want to kind of delve into this a little bit because it could be a dream of a lot of people. I know it's kind of funny. You see this happen when people have success on their own fitness journeys. They want to help. And that's
Yeah.
not the funny part. That's the awesome part, right? You want to help other people. When you figured out what works, you want to spread that news. Just
Mm-hmm.
like anything else that you feel good about. If you feel good about, it's the same thing in Christianity. You feel good about the message of Christ,
Yeah.
you want to share it with other people, right?
It's the belief in.
That's why Christmas is so awesome, outside of
Yeah.
Santa. Apart from that, the actual meaning of Christmas, that's why it's spread everywhere, because it makes people feel good. When you have results in your fitness journey, you want to share that with other people. Not
Mm-hmm.
many people take it to the extreme of quitting their job and opening a gym.
Mm-hmm.
But, a
Yeah.
lot of people do want to get into some kind of personal fitness or personal training, etc. You took it to a whole nother level, to where you genuinely wanted to help people get better in their lives, and in a way where it was people that are bought in on their own success.
Yeah.
You're going to have training there. You're going to have, workouts and stuff there as well. But in the gym, the facility, even some of the stuff was set up, but not a lot of the machines are set up yet. I could picture it, and it's going to be an outstanding gym. For anyone that listens out in the Lexington area, I highly recommend that you check it out. By the time this comes out, I'm assuming it'll be open or pretty
Yeah.
close to it. So
We'll be
definitely
open.
check it out. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll leave a link down below to where you can check out Gym Blue. But why, I guess let's talk about this, because some people think that they can just quit their jobs and everything will work out, which, if you're single, go for it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
when you have a family and
Yeah.
you've got a wife, you've got some fur babies,
Yeah.
if you do have children, if you have, you've got a house payment, things like bills that need to be taken care of, you
Mm-hmm.
can't always just quit. And I know Andy Frisella talks about this as well, along with a lot of people that have had some major success. They didn't go all in on themselves when they had these responsibilities. Like Andy was single,
Mm-hmm.
single dude, young dude, whenever he started working on the S2 portion of his company. So you had a family, you had responsibilities, and I know you and I have talked about how you felt nervous, a little bit of anxiety,
Mm-hmm.
letting go of that, 401k
Mm-hmm.
benefits, all of these things. When you had a wife to take care of, you had a supportive wife, but how did you plan for this? Like, maybe not specific details, but walk us through kind of how you planned to quit so that you could go all in on a business.
I mean, honestly, so when this dream of ours, first got implanted into our minds, it was okay. financially, like, how are we going to make this thing work? So again, yeah, we still have our responsibilities at the house. Mortgage still has to be paid. Lights still have to be paid. So, I mean, okay, so we have to stop spending money on X, Y, and Z, and we have to start saving it for the gym. So we had to set away finances for us to survive during the build out of the gym, and then even after the build out of the gym, because we're not going to come out the gates and be profitable right out the gates. We have to have enough money put away to be able to sustain ourselves. Now we're not able to, we didn't go on vacation this year. The
You
only
didn't buy
thing
the
I've been
newest
able to
boat.
do, yeah, yeah. The only thing I've been able to do is go on that elk hunt, but I was able to, I budgeted all that stuff out. So it's sitting down, writing out your budget, where can you take away from to put towards your dream of where you want to get to. And then also too, like it's a huge risk and it is terrifying, but also too, if your heart is in the right place and if it's truly something that you want, like you gotta shit or get off the pot at some point in time, and you gotta make some sacrifices in life to get to where you want to be at. So, I was fortunate and I was blessed to be able to, get a nice chunk of change from stock that I had within the company that I worked for, that I was able to cash out and invest here into the gym and put some money away. But it's a gamble at the end of the day, but it's a gamble that I'm willing to take and to take that risk because of the belief that I have behind of what we're going to be able to bring to the table, not for the short term, but for the long term. So,
Mhm.
um, yeah, it's been, and yeah, those feelings still don't go away of being nervous and anxious and sleepless nights. Like, I don't think that's ever going to go away, but I know at the end of the day that we're doing the right thing by going down this path. I think this is truly what God has planned out for us. So, I'm just trusting Him and trusting the process that it's all going to work out. So,
Yeah. Yeah. And I just wanted to highlight, for people out there that are considering doing something like this. I mean, you didn't wait until the gym was built out. You didn't like you planned so that you could
yeah,
be there 100% present and all in on this goal right from the get-go, right?
yeah,
From building. You hadn't even signed the lease when you put in your 2 weeks.
correct,
That you
correct,
were that confident and you just had the faith that it was going to play out. You didn't have, and I want people to understand too that there were no real sponsorships that were paying for the gym for you.
correct,
You know,
correct. This
First
is
Form
all
isn't building the gym for you. Andy Frisell is not building the gym for you. This
right,
is all Dale Beatty and his wife. And so for people to understand that, there's a couple of key things I want to highlight. Just one, you had a supportive spouse, and the supportive spouse that can come from personal things that the spouse accomplishes and feels confident, etc. But also when you're in a partnership with a husband or a wife, there's things that you've done over the X amount of years that you've been together that will prove or disprove how you're going to
yep,
follow through on things. And
yes,
so you've proven to her over X amount of years that you guys have been married that you follow through on your stuff and that you have things lined up. And then on top of that, you were showing her, hey, I have stock here that we can cash out. I have this that we're putting away. Yes, I'm going on the elk hunt, but I've budgeted for that. Um, I'm just going to say you're a better man at finances than me because like, I
I
am
wouldn't go
terrible when it comes.
that far.
Yeah.
I'm dumb, honestly. So we'll see.
but you had a plan. It wasn't just, all right, you know what? And this is a sentiment that I'm getting a lot, and I'm trying to um out of my older kids, I'm trying to teach them about this as well. And it's so frustrating because everyone around them, it seems like, is just like, well, my boss was mean to me today, so I'm gonna quit. I can live
Mhm.
at my parents' house. Like that's the mindset nowadays that is so frustrating for people. Even people in their 30s like us have that mindset of, oh well, the government will take care of me or whoever it is. I just don't. My boss was mean to me today. He triggered me or he upset me or this or that or the other. And you can't just do that and expect to live a good, successful life. I'm sure you could sit back and live off of welfare if that makes you happy, but um, you're not really going to truly be happy because you're not going to be accomplishing things.
Right.
The other thing too that's prevalent is video games and or social media. And there was someone that talked about, I don't know if it was Andrew Huberman or someone else that talks about the biology behind it, but men especially get addicted to video games because there's accomplishments that happen. Whether you're playing online, whether you're playing the campaign mode or whatever it is, you accomplish certain things. And you get addicted to that because it's the same dopamine hit that you get when you accomplish things in real life. It's the same dopamine hit that you got when those built machines got delivered.
Mm-hmm.
When you saw that truck backing in, I'm sure that felt good, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And
Absolutely.
so it's one of those ding, like pops up on your screen, accomplishment, you know, headshot, whatever it was, you know,
Yeah.
like that was one of those things that you feel in real life. And so I just want to drill that point home, that you put in the work, you still are putting in the work. And even when I was there and you put me to work mopping, you were cleaning, right?
Yeah.
You were cleaning your gym. You weren't there having someone else do it. It wasn't your wife doing it all by herself.
Right.
You were there, and you're there consistently. So that's huge, key, and pivotal for people to understand, I feel like, when it comes to pursuing their dreams.
I say too, and it's literally I have no plan B. Like if this does not work out, I have nothing else, and I have no money at all. Like it's gone. So literally, back against the wall mentality, no plan B, zero options mentality. I mean, that's honestly, I feel like that's where I kind of operate the best at, because it just forces you to figure it out, and you will be forced to figure it out. But having that zero option mentality, no plan B, you have plan A, and the only goal is to make plan A work. So I didn't know that about the video game type thing. Like, I guess I could get my dopamine hits different now.
Yeah. Yep.
But I see, and that makes complete sense, because I mean, I did play video games and stuff like that growing up, but as I've gotten older, like I guess I found different dopamine hits to fulfill that for myself. And um, you know, these sort of dopamine hits are going to take you a lot further than a video game ever will. So
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah. It's one of those things that our bodies are built to run off of that. And I don't know, I'm not a doctor, scientist, or any of that. I know just barely enough about biology to be okay. But from what I do understand about it is you have to work harder to get the hit that you got when those machines got delivered, or when you first walked into Gym Blue after it was painted, or whatever it may be. Those different quote unquote accomplishments in real life, you have to work harder for them, so that that hit that you get means more.
mhm.
And the way that social media, with the constant scrolling, the likes and things like that, video games, they're literally programmed to tap into that same biology and get you addicted to that feeling, but it takes less work, takes thumb work. That's
Yeah,
really it,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And so that our bodies were programmed that way so that you get addicted to the work of progress.
hmm
And because that's in our biology, people have just found a way to hack that, basically, with video games and social media, to get you addicted in the same way that people used to get addicted to finding berries, hunting game, building a house, building a
yeah,
fire, things like that, getting up in the morning and seeing the sunrise from a mountaintop, things like that. um, you tap into that with video games as well. And
right,
so
right,
it doesn't mean as much, but your body can't tell a difference. It's like, I want more of that. That's a good feeling, you
yeah, yeah, yeah.
know.
They also
Cool.
the whole thing about the spouse thing. So, like, I don't run the show here; she runs the show completely. So I want everyone to to know that, like, she points me in like, I'm a doer. So if she points me in the right direction, I'll get it done. But other than that, she's calling the shot. So, but definitely having that support system at the house it's so important. It is so vital. Like honestly, I would not be here without her. So I just wanted to say that. I don't know if my wife is going to listen to this or not, but I love you and thank you, because honestly, she's letting me like play out this dream of ours, and we don't know how it's going to pan out, but I'm just very fortunate and
100%.
very blessed for that. So
I definitely understand that as well. The
you know, a lot,
supportive spouse.
yeah,
Do what?
a lot of people out there, like, they don't have that sort of support system, and like, that it sucks to say, but sometimes your significant other, your spouse, holds you back,
Hmm.
from being who you're truly meant to be. And that shouldn't be the case at all. Like, you're in this thing together. Like, you guys got to support one another. So
Right. Exactly. But so, and I want to hit on that too for people that are out there listening. Just if you don't have a supportive spouse, before you start pointing the finger at them, though, think about what have you done
What have you
to
done? Right.
show what they should be supporting.
Right.
And so a lot of people that are successful that go out and have these entrepreneurial endeavors, for me personally, the podcast, going and traveling, going on these hunts, things like that. Like, I always try and shout out my wife, even though she doesn't want to be in the limelight. Someone's got to be at home getting the kids off to school, getting the kids home from school, homework, food, keeping the house clean, laundry going. Like, all of that stuff has to still keep going when I'm gone. And
Mhm.
so, it's something that, but she's willing to support because she sees how driven I am. And this isn't a phase that a lot of people do go through. They go through phases. And if you're one of those people that goes through phases, like, don't beat yourself up over it, but don't point the finger at your spouse saying she's not supporting me or he's not supporting me when you have not ever given them a reason to support you.
Right.
They have the same anxieties about finances or their future. And if you're a partnership and you're pulling in the same direction, they want to know what direction you're going,
Right.
not just that you're going to squirrel at every moment that there's something new that you want to go through that phase with.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
So
You got
yeah,
to
just
work on yourself, because you have to prove it. Not only prove it to yourself, but prove it to them as well.
mhm. Exactly. Exactly. So those are some things that, people definitely need to hear. Because it's real easy to turn around and be like, well, she's not supporting me or he's not supporting me. When in reality, most of the time it's because you haven't given them a reason to.
Yeah.
So
I'll tell
definitely,
you also
definitely.
this, like going into business with your spouse, that's a whole, bro, that's a whole different animal right there. That's a
Oh yeah,
whole different
exactly.
beast. The thing is
Exactly.
though, like through this journey, so with the gym, we're outfitting the gym with like honestly like small companies, not mom and pop, but like all of our equipment is made here in America. So we are striving to everyone that we work with, their product or their service is, here in America. And like I went over and met with, we're going to have a towel service here in the gym for the showers and then for the cold plunge. And so I go over there and pick up the towels. And it's this lady that is working. She owns the company, her and her husband. And I was like, what advice do you have for, because I'm always picking everyone's brain when it comes
Hmm.
to entrepreneurship. I'm just like, what advice do you have for, a young entrepreneur like myself? And especially too, like being in business with your spouse. And she was like, honestly, like communication is the most important thing when it comes to being in business with your spouse or even being in business, on your own. Is communication is just absolutely key. Because there are going to be so many days, and we've already experienced this, as it is that, you know, you're going to, both of you want to quit, like, because it is just, there's just so much going on and so many different situations and scenarios and vendors, and you feel as if nothing is going right at all. But she was like, just over communicate as much as possible, and honestly, just don't quit, don't give up on it. If you have the belief, if you have the passion behind it, like it will all work out. So it's reassuring hearing things from other entrepreneurs out there that have been in the game much longer. For myself, you just giving out nuggets, for free, on how to tackle this whole entire thing, because you take it day by day, you're figuring out as you go along, and having that support system is just crucial, and that communication piece is crucial as well.
Definitely. Communication is key in so many different aspects,
Yeah.
even if it, from any relationship that you have, communication is key. And that doesn't mean that you always have to be in constant communication, but if you clearly communicate with whoever it is and you get your intentions out there, then they're able to follow that. And maybe you follow up every 2 weeks, every month, every other month.
Mhm.
But as long as you clearly communicate when you are communicating, that's super important. I'm, it's something I'm not really good at, and I've had to learn over time. And that's something that I recommend to people if you have it, in your budget, or if your insurance will pay for it, or even if you don't, maybe pull it from your budget somewhere else. I recommend counseling for couples. But even if you guys are doing great, something that I recommend is having some form of counseling on a regular basis. Again, that could be once a month, once every other month, whatever. But there's always going to be things when you live with someone long enough. There's going to be stuff that you need to discuss. That's not always fun to talk about face to face, because there's going to be emotions involved. And so that's something that I've learned a lot going through counseling. We go regularly, and it's, it's funny because I tell people that and they're like, "What's wrong? You guys getting divorced? What's the problem?" I'm like, "No, that's not like you shouldn't wait until then to go to counseling.
Right.
You should be constantly communicating." For me, I needed that so that I could open up a little bit more and have those more difficult discussions that I'm not necessarily I don't necessarily enjoy talking about. I don't like bringing out my insecurities. Those are things that everyone has, and it's not easy to talk about, even with the person that you love the most in this world. And because you want to show up strong for them. So all of those things to be said, communication is definitely key in whatever your entrepreneurial endeavors are, or even if you're an entrepreneur and you go and you want to work for a company, but you want to grow in a company, or you're making a career change or anything like that, that needs to be communicated too, so that your spouse and your family knows that they will be taken care of as this transition happens, whatever transition that is. So that's awesome. And so I do want to kind of touch on here. So you had your own personal fitness journey, and you have maintained that level of fitness and gotten better just over the last couple of years. I know for me personally, I fluctuate. I'm up and down sometimes, and still trying to find something that I am where I can maintain and still be comfortable in the mountains, comfortable being a dad, going out to eat, things like that. You've maintained that throughout all of this, in these endeavors that you've had. What is, I guess, maybe the top two things that you can recommend to people once they've hit a certain spot in their fitness journey that they want to maintain at? What's something that you can recommend to people to maintain where they're at?
Well, I think first off, by no means am I perfect when it comes to this fitness thing. So I don't want anyone to think that I'm this, I'm on point, 365 days a year, every single day. That's not the case at all. I have my weeks and months where, I can go without tracking my food, or not drinking my water, or, not hitting the gym. Well, not necessarily hitting the gym. So I absolutely love that. But definitely the food aspect of it. So I'm not absolutely perfect when it comes to it, but when I am on, I'm just very consistent with it. I'm just very I'm just, again, you point me in a direction to go. Using the First Form app is obviously the most instrumental piece to the whole entire fitness journey because of the nutrition piece of it. So when I am tracking, um, you know, making sure that I'm hitting my fats, calories, proteins, carbs every day. And
Hope you are enjoying the conversation so far. Dale has some amazing information. He really does, and his business is taking off. Even since we had this conversation with him, he is just doing amazing out there in Lexington. Definitely go check out his gym. Guys, if you're liking this conversation, I really appreciate it if you would subscribe to the channel, like, and leave a comment down below. Any questions you have for me, for Dale, for as a business owner, as maybe a gym goer, someone who maybe is interested in going to Gym Blue, check it out. Leave a comment. I really appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much. And if you're listening to this in the audio version, follow wherever it's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, etc., and leave a review. It helps way more than you know. We're almost to the triple digits in the reviews. Really appreciate that. That's a milestone that I'm excited to hit with you guys. And of course, I appreciate your feedback. So let me know about that. Have a great one. Enjoy the rest of this conversation. Let's get back to it.
That includes the weekends as well. I feel like a lot of actually, I think it was a Hormozy podcast I listened to the other day. I forgot how many days he said, but the weekends make up of the year. It was a significant number. And a lot of people like taking their foot off of the gas when it comes to the weekends because you busted your ass Monday through Friday. You want to take Saturday, Sunday. You just want to hang out. You want to chill. You want to go out and do what you want to do. And that's perfectly fine. But that's where you gain a lot of ground at, though, is on those weekends, just Saturday and Sunday. you can gain a lot of ground, and you're just maintaining those results, and you're building on those results that you've already had Monday through Friday. And so just being consistent with it and not taking a day off when it comes to, especially tracking your food. I understand rest days when it comes to lifting weights. But as far as the food intake portion of it, that's the most critical piece to it. Being disciplined and being consistent with it. Um, I had something else that I was about to say, and it completely left my mind. Um,
While
oh,
you're thinking
I know
on
what it
that, it
is.
is over 100 days in a
It
year.
is over. Is
That's
it
a third of
127?
the year.
Is it 127?
I mean, 52 weeks times 2, rough estimate, is about a 104. But that's still, I mean, that's basically a third of the year.
Right, right. Um, the alcohol piece too. I think that's what's helped out the absolute most as well. So for those who do not know, I'm actually 2 years. I'll be 3 years sober in June. So back in 2021, going through 75 hard, you have the 75 days without alcohol. And previously to that, like, I mean, I was drinking 7 nights a week, getting pretty intoxicated on, random Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It didn't matter. If I felt as if I was stressed out from work, or if the smallest thing went wrong in my life, that, all right, I'm drinking and I really didn't have control over, I couldn't just have one. I'm not drinking just to drink. Like, I'm drinking to get drunk. And I don't really care about anything else at that point.
Yeah.
That was old Dale. But going through 75 hard and those 75 days without alcohol, it kind of really piqued my interest on, like, man, like, I feel really good about myself. Like, I just feel great. And I was like, a little bit after 75 hard, like, I think went out to Summer Smash at first Phorm. I had like 4 or 5 drinks that whole entire weekend. And I get back home and I'm just like, you know what? I think I'm done with it completely. And just cold turkey, just stop drinking. Made a commitment to myself. I made a promise to myself that I was never going to drink alcohol again. And that helped me out mentally as well, was like, by making another promise or another commitment to myself that I wasn't going to do said thing. There's so much power and momentum behind that when you say that you're going to do something and you actually do it and you stick to it. And we're going to be 3 years in June. And now, like, I, from drinking 7 nights a week to being now at this point 2 years sober, like, I didn't know it was possible, but I feel so good about myself. And I feel so good about when other people reach out to me, through social media, because I share that out there on social media that, I don't drink alcohol anymore. You don't need to drink alcohol to have a good time, to have fun. I'm showing that I'm able to go to weddings. I'm able to go out to eat. I'm able to go on vacation. I'm able to do all these things and not have alcohol in order to have a good time. And when other people hit me up and are like, hey, I'm 30 days sober, or I'm 3 months sober, and just like, that's what it's all about right there. Is just like, making a promise to yourself, make a commitment to yourself and sticking to it. And then how good you feel about doing so. Because even with alcohol, like, my drink of choice, I'm in bourbon country, I'm in Kentucky, so I'm always drinking bourbon. And then I was a massive, massive Bush Latte fan. Um, man. But uh I don't miss any of that. Those are just empty calories, and I much rather now eat those calories and eat those carbs rather than drinking them and then waking up feeling absolutely terrible the next. Actually, my hangovers wouldn't even last a day. It would last like 2 or 3 days because you're over 30. So
Mm.
back in your
Mm.
20s, like, you can have a day hangover, you'll be perfectly fine. But once you get in your 30s plus, like, those hangovers last for a couple of days, and then you have the moral hangover of, went out to the bars, don't know what I said to this person, don't know how I acted. Like, that's not an enjoyable life right there. So being consistent when it comes to tracking macros, cutting out alcohol for good, those have been the two just instrumental pieces to the maintaining, or to the fitness side, or just the whole entire thing, just being that best version of yourself. I think those two things have just played a massive role into the results that I've been able to achieve over the years.
For sure. No,
Yeah.
definitely. It's amazing to me because I grew up, and I'm still LDS, and for people that don't know, that's Mormon or the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. We believe in not drinking as one of the things that we're taught. Now, there's plenty of people that drink in the church.
Mhm.
I'm not saying that everyone's perfect just because you're a member of the church, but it was never something that for me ever tempted me, along with drugs. Neither of those two things. I saw, like, first off, I was an athlete all through my younger years, and I was normally on the heftier side, the husky side. Uh,
The South Pole
oh,
side.
that word still, oh man, that still gets me.
The South.
But I was on that husky side of the clothing aisle, and until I was, I don't know, maybe ninth or 10th grade, I
Yeah.
had a what do they call it, a glow up. Anyway, I
Yeah.
like stretched this
Yeah.
way instead of this way,
Yeah.
and anyway, I always laugh now because it's kind of a joke, but at the same time, I was really thinking this. I'm like, man, these dudes run faster than me, and some of them most of them are stronger than me, and they go out and drink and smoke weed on the weekends, and sometimes during the week in high school,
Yeah.
and I don't do any of that, and I'm still trying to play catch up. Imagine if I did do that stuff, like,
Right. Right.
you
Right.
know.
Yeah.
And
That's
so
awesome.
for me, I like, and that on top of seeing people's faces when they did take a drink, I'm like, man, like,
Yeah.
if I want to make that face, I'm gonna go have like a warhead or something like that,
Right.
one of the
Exactly.
Sour Patch Kids, like,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
something a little bit more enjoyable. So for all those reasons, like, I've never had a drop of alcohol, but I can also understand, like, I'm interested in the mindset of people that do drink and why, and that social,
The
or the
social. It's the
stress.
social. It's the social. It's the social and the stress.
Those are the
Really.
two biggest things that people that I talk to about it tell me. It's either a social lubricant, which I've never needed. I just embrace my awkwardness. I'm Mormon, ginger, pasty white, and I was fat for a while. Like all of the
You are,
bad things. Like, I just
you are
finally just
everything I want.
embraced it.
But
And then
you
on
are.
top of that, when South Park came out with, dude, I was the brunt of so many jokes. I didn't even watch South Park until people started telling me jokes about gingers being soulless and we steal souls. So I play into that all the time. Like, yep, every freckle is a soul stolen.
Yeah.
Um, did I read my Bible out of a top hat? Like, what are you talking about? They're like, well, Mormons run hell. It's like some hot tub with all these hot chicks, and Mormons are in charge of it. I'm like, I mean, that don't sound half bad, but like, like, and then they would ask me if I shave my horns every morning. I'm like, oh yeah, right here, you can see, yeah. Oh, yeah. Like, I just play into all this crap, and then I finally went and watched the South Park episodes. They're pretty funny, but like, I never had the social anxiety aspect of it. I've always enjoyed speaking ever since I can remember. So, like, that never was a reason for me to drink. And then the stress portion, like, I just dealt with stress in different ways than that. And alcohol seemed like a very expensive drink when I could have water or a really good strawberry lemonade or something like that. And so for me personally, it's never been a thing, but understanding why it's a thing for people. And then when people like yourself and Andy's talked about it, um, Sean Ryan is another one. I listen to his podcast a lot. He's talked about being sober and how things have changed for him and how he's like not living in this fog anymore.
Mhm.
How he enjoys conversations more. His life he's not like, I don't know how to describe it because I've never been there, but just having this fog lifted off of you. And then there was another person that talked about it. But anyway, long story short, I've seen how it changes people's lives. And I've seen, like, I think you were just recently into the sober journey when we first talked and when we first met, and seeing you from then to now. There's been a big growth in your journey as well. Um, you know,
I
some people
appreciate
may
that.
ask you if you were high because you quit your job and opened a gym, but like, but in your mind, you've been more clear than ever
Right.
making these decisions,
Yeah.
and so it's awesome to hear. And I just highlight that, not saying that people need to get away from alcohol. I'm not
I am.
against it by
I'm
any
saying
means.
it. I'm saying it because
Oh,
honestly,
there you
like,
go.
so I did a speaking event up in Pennsylvania a couple months ago, and of course I share my story and I talk about the alcohol piece of it. And what did I say? I said something along the lines of a lot of times that I hear people say, well, I don't drink that often, or only have, I don't drink that often, or only drink in a social setting. But it's more so people say that I don't drink that often. So if you say that you don't drink that often, so why don't you just give it up for good then? And that hit, like, I had one guy reach out to me. It was like, dude, that really hit home with me right there. It's like, I'm sitting here telling myself I don't drink that often. So why do I even drink at all? So if you don't drink that often, you can give it up. Honestly, you're just choosing not to, because of what your friends or family are going to say. It's not even family, it's what your friends are going to say, because it's a social setting as to why you're drinking in the first place, or it's the bullshit lies that you're telling yourself in your mind as to why you need that drink. You don't need alcohol to be, you do not need alcohol to have a good time. You don't need alcohol to de-stress. If anything, that alcohol is making it worse on you because it's a depressant, and you're going to feel a lot worse than you did beforehand. So you I'm telling people you don't need alcohol, and you really probably should stop drinking alcohol because it's holding you back from accomplishing a whole lot more out there. So
no, I definitely appreciate that, man. That's,
but that's just my honest opinion right there.
yeah. And well, you've lived on both sides of it, and
Right.
that's why for me, like,
Yeah.
I tell people, I don't judge you, and I'm sure you don't either, but
No.
I'm an advocate for not, because I've seen this side and I've lived on the sober side my whole life. And I've seen what it's done to people. Like,
Right.
growing up in high school, like, you'd come back and I'm like, hey, where's so and so? Oh, he was killed over the weekend. I'm like, and this is like 10th grade. It's like he was killed over the weekend at a party. I'm like, kill what? And they're like, yeah, they were drinking and things got out of control. And I'm like, wow, and then just a lot of the decisions, the poor decisions that I've seen friends or associates in high school make, they were under the influence of either drugs or alcohol. In their right minds, they might have gotten in a fist fight. But usually after fist fights, you make up your friends, or at least you tolerate each other. When I saw things escalate when alcohol and drugs were involved. And so, it's just something that I agree with you. But I also want people out there to understand, like, me personally, I'm not going to judge you if you drink, and I'll go hang out with you. But I definitely recommend staying away from substances in general that are going to alter your mind state. Yeah.
Like you said, I couldn't think of a single win that I've had in my life previously, like when I was drinking a lot of the time. Now that I've gotten sober, I've done nothing but win at this thing called life. Or at least in my mind, in my opinion, I feel like that I've done nothing but win. And I can look at friends and family, and I can, those individuals that are still drinking alcohol, and, they've ruined, everything because of alcohol, because of that one decision they made while they were drunk or under the influence. It changes their whole entire life. And not only does it changes their life, it changes their family life as well. So it's just, why put others through that for
Exactly.
There really is no point. So
yep. And I want to be around for as long as possible.
100%.
So not, there's some people that drink was a glass of wine or something like that every single day of their lives, and they live to 110. Good for them. But like, for me, I try and stay away from as many things as possible that are going to keep me from experiencing as much of life as possible. And that's just, for me, that's one of those things that I want to experience it. Also, people would come back from the weekend on a party and they're like, man, I know I had sex with so-and-so. I'm like, okay, no, I don't remember it. I'm like, well, what, like,
right.
Then why? Like, I want to remember those things, And so
it's actually fun. It's nice.
Right. Yeah. Right. Exactly. 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 So, those all of those things wrapped up into, it almost blows my mind that, things like marijuana or, controlled environments where you can do mushrooms. I've never done any of that stuff, but like, I understand there are some medical benefits to it. They've proven that scientifically. Maybe the medical world doesn't want to admit that, but those things are not legal, but alcohol is. And I don't know, like you said, I don't know of anything that's really been, other than the social setting of maybe like two presidents getting together or leaders getting together and having a drink together. it wasn't really the alcohol that made the difference in their
Right.
life. It was just the social setting of sharing a drink.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's interesting to think, like, and if anyone listening out there can name a time when there was something groundbreaking and consistently successful that was wrapped around alcohol. Oh, I take that back. NASCAR. Dang it. I was just thinking, I'm like, what's something? I'm like, oh man, and I've been talking to Jeff a lot lately, so of course,
Yeah. Yeah.
freaking
Yeah.
NASCAR.
Dude,
And
I went to a NASCAR event and I didn't have a single drink.
right, well, right,
It
but NASCAR got started by
Yeah, NASCAR got
moonshiners.
started.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
in all reality, all jokes aside, like just
Yeah.
thinking about that and what we put into our bodies, being a little bit more conscious of that, and that goes back into the whole first form idea, which I want to ask you, kind of here wrapping things up. Why did you choose first form again over? There's so many, and everyone out there knows this. There's so many supplement companies out there. Why did you choose first form to make this change rather than something else out there?
That's funny that you asked that question, because I don't think it was me. Honestly, believe that it was God that did that, and that's because honestly, it's because of Andy. Because back in 2015, when I found his podcast, and it took me a while to find out because he never talked about first form on his podcast, especially in the early days. I just really enjoyed his delivery, his message, uh, and also loved like that whole entire like entrepreneur thing was like always fascinating to me as well. And like I knew like back then that I wanted to be an entrepreneur, but I like didn't know what I wanted to do. But those seeds have always been in my mind because of him, because of his podcast from way back when, the MFCEO days. And when it came time, when he came out with 75 Hard and the diet piece of it, for the first 2 days, I was actually tracking my diet by hand because in my mind, for some reason, like I was like, I want to do keto, or at least my version of keto. I was taking in less than 50 grams of carbs a day, and I was doing that all by hand. And I had MyFitnessPal, that app, like back in college when I was working out, because I knew a little bit about working out because I worked out back then, and a little bit about nutrition. But I was 2 days into 75 Hard back in 2021, and I was like, hold on, let me see if First Form has an app out here. I had no idea if they had one or not. And I hop on because I was like, this is Andy's program. He's giving out for free. I want to support him any way possible because it's his program and he's giving this information out for free. And so I hop into the app store and I was like, holy shit, First Form does have an app. And so I download the app and then get in on the transformation challenge. But like I said, I honestly feel like that was just all God talking to me. It was just like, because again, I didn't know. I had no idea. I was just going to do everything by hand. And I never would have gotten involved with First Form with the way that I've gotten involved with them if it wasn't for honestly him planting that seed in my mind of, hey, check to see if First Form has an app. And sure enough, they had an app. Submit my pictures for the transformation challenge, and honestly didn't think anything of it after that. Just kept in touch with my advisor. He laid the game plan out there for me. It was like, hit your fats, calories, protein, carbs, all that sort of stuff. If you have any questions, hit me up. I invested in watching all the live streams, just absorbing as much more knowledge as I possibly could. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be here talking to you right now from Gym Blue if it wasn't for all that stuff way back when, and downloading the First Form app and seeing that you can really get out here and you can change everything for yourself. You can be a completely, not even a different person. You can just be a better version of yourself that you didn't know was possible. So,
Yep.
Yeah, that's yeah, it's definitely wild to think about. And I know a lot of people like they don't believe me when I say like, oh, you knew First Form had this app, or you only did it for to win the transformation challenge or to get athlete, all that sort of stuff. Like I really didn't. Like, and I could it's not that I couldn't care less about it. It's just that hasn't been a driving factor for myself for any of this at all. It's just honestly just been being the best version of myself. Ever since I figured out that I'm capable of a little bit more, I've just been chasing that dude every single day. That's about it.
100%. No,
Yeah.
I love that, man. That's I mean, that's a real story. You know,
Yeah.
it's not, there's not really any fake to that. And I know First Phorm since then has definitely grown a ton, but it's really interesting to hear how many of us, especially in the First Phorm Outdoors team, um, came across Andy first with the MFCEO project.
Yeah.
And I had no idea. It actually took me a couple episodes for me to be okay with the way he spoke, because I was like, man, this dude sounds like I deal with cursing, but like, man, this guy is like, is there a message? You know, like, and then listen, then like actually,
there's a true art form to it, and he has it down pat.
it's just his language, man. It's
It's
not
just
even, yeah,
there's
it's just how he speaks.
an art form to it. It's perfect.
Yeah, no, for real though. I mean, like my first interaction with Andy was, you know, I just hear this in the locker room.
Yeah.
You know, the door gets kicked open. Anybody's dicks out? We're like, what? Like, no, man, we're good. What? And I recognized his voice. I was like, oh, it's Andy. He was like, all right, oh, Emily's coming in here to take my 75 hard photos. So I was like, cool. Nice to meet you, Andy. I'm Jonathan.
Right.
But yeah, that's just Andy for you. He's just real as it gets. And
Yeah.
but no, that's an awesome story. And you put in the work, and I think the takeaway from that for people is First Phorm doesn't give stuff. Like you earned your spot as an elite athlete, and you know, you get certain perks with that, but you earned it and you have to keep it. You know, it's not one of those positions that's like for life.
Yeah.
You have to re-up, you know, you have to show that you're living the lifestyle, that you're fulfilling your obligations. It's not just well, you look like, you know, something chiseled over in Rome, and you get to keep the yeah, you didn't put a tattoo on your left chesticle to to keep yourself as a First Phorm guy. You know, and it's something for me too. Like people, they're like, oh, well, you're sponsored by this supplement company. I'm like, well, honestly, I'm not. Like,
Right.
you know, they don't pay me
Right.
in a way of like just pay me to pay me. You know, I earn my dues, everything, buy my own supplements.
You
I
have to
don't get
work.
sent stuff. Yeah,
Work.
exactly. And so that's just how First Phorm is. It's not one of those things where it's you know, they just hand out like candy for athletes and, you know, things like that. You have to earn this stuff, you know,
100%.
and so I really appreciate that fact, that aspect of First Phorm, you know, and First Phorm Outdoors specifically as well.
Yeah.
And just kind of to end on that note with the First Phorm Outdoors side of things, that, you know, you came in with First Phorm, but again, and I mentioned this in the other episode that we talked about why First Phorm Outdoors. And again, if you've gotten to this point of the episode, definitely when you get done with this one, go back and check out that week of why First Phorm Outdoors as we kicked off 2024 here. But First Phorm Outdoors, as it was getting started, you were there. I jumped in on it because I saw something that I didn't see at other companies. Not to say that there's any other companies that are bad per se. You know, I like to tell people that we look at other companies in the industry as siblings, where we're going to beat the crap out of you on the field, but then we'll lift you up afterward and say, all right, let's get better together, you know?
Yeah.
Either way, we're winning, you know, but no competitiveness there, but we just want everyone in the outdoors to get better. We want people to get away from, you know, the stupid interactions of pushing people off of public land, or when I went out to Ohio, shout out to you guys out in Ohio, government land, as you guys call it. But yeah, I still, that makes me cringe a little bit, because it's not the government's, because the government is of the people, supposed to be anyway. So it's our land. Yeah. And so, but you know, having interactions with people where they push people off of public land, they chase people down because they're chasing after their elk, you know, like things like that needs to get, we'll never officially eliminate that. I wish we could. But being able to put out there, you need to be in shape, whether you're a whitetail hunter, turkey hunter, elk hunter, sheep hunter, whatever. There's different types of fitness levels, but the main reason why you want to stay fit And what we enforce at First Phorm Outdoors is because we want you to live your legacy. We want you to make memories, and we want you to be the grandpa and the great grandpa, or even further, great great grandpa, if you can make it that far, to where you can share it with your grandkids and your kids, and get them out there in the woods and do the things that you want to do. And that's really the importance of the fitness level, so that you can extend your life to be able to share that with others, rather than just because you want to look good. Maybe that's part of it. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think, especially as men, that feeds our own ego when we look good. You know, our wives are going to love us whether we look, you know, shredded or we got the dad bod. They're going to love us. But
husky.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I'm done. I'm going to get so many messages now. Hey, Husky, what's going on?
Well, I was talking about myself because I was husky as well. So
right. Yeah. But no, man, that's definitely something that we definitely key in on with First Phorm Outdoors. And I love being a part of that group. I've loved getting to know you over the past couple of years. You're an outstanding individual. I'm stoked to see the journey Jim Blue is going to be on. And then after you've been open for a year, we're going to have you come back on and talk about all the people that are jacked and shredded like you that you've brought through the gym. And, you know, I'll have to come out there. We'll do an episode in the cold plunge. How about that?
There we go.
As we're like, you know,
I don't know how much talking will be done because it takes pressure every single time. So,
oh man. Well, Jonathan, I really appreciate you being on, man. Do what?
I appreciate you having me on, dude. Really did.
Of course. Yeah. And where can people find you? I'm going to leave the links all down below, but go ahead and give a shout out to your channels and places.
Yeah. So most active on Instagram. So that's just at Mr. Dale Beatty. At Mr. Dale Beatty is what it is on Instagram. And then gymblue.com. That's the website for the gym. And we're doing day passes. So if you're ever traveling through Lexington, Kentucky, want to stop through, get a workout in, come to Gym Blue.
I highly recommend it, guys. It's definitely a beautiful spot. I'm stoked to see it once it's finally built out. And yeah, I really appreciate you taking the time being on here. Guys, go check out all the channels I'm going to leave down below so you can go find Dale and Jim Blue. Go get your fitness on. Have an amazing beginning to 2024. And like I always say, guys, get out, live your life, and love it. What a great conversation with my buddy Dale. He is a brother to me. He does amazing work at what he does. He has stayed fit year round. He crushes his goals. And of course, guys, learning from him on how to end being an employee, if that's something that you're wanting to do, become an entrepreneur, start your own business. It's not easy to start a gym, and he's doing it, and he's crushing it. So check it out, guys. Go check out Gym Blue if you're in the Lexington area. If you're driving through, definitely go check it out as well. I'm really excited for Dale. Super stoked that he was able to share his story. And guys, if you're interested in anything First Phorm related, getting in on the First Phorm app, getting some training, wherever you are, you'll be linked up with someone from the First Phorm Outdoors group through the app that will go through your training, your nutrition, and make sure you stay on track and hit your goals as we get through 2024. If you're interested in any supplementation, again, drop a comment, shoot me a message over on Instagram, send me an email. Check out the link down below. You'll get free shipping on anything over $75 and minus the energy drinks. Go check it out over there. First Phorm. Again, if you have any questions, let me know. Have a fantastic rest of your day. And of course, get out, live your life, and love it.